By the way, whilst I'm filming, I just leant really close into the microphone. You are going to have to bear with me with this microphone thing. Bastard time. I knock the bloody camera over. See if this works. I don't know whether it does. Hopefully it does. Hi, my name's Ella, and you are listening and watching my new podcast, ElsAMess. Is that alright?
Perfect.
So in today's episode, I wanted to do a little bit of an introduction about who I am and what this podcast is going to be about, because there's no flipping point in me doing a podcast if you don't know what it's going to be about. You are going to have to bear with me with this microphone thing. I'm getting used to it.
Okay.
But Grace is here for moral support.
You're talking to me.
No.
I thought you were talking to
No,
me.
I'm talking to the camera, love.
Sorry.
Why am I saying love? I never say that. So the reason why I have named this podcast okay. The reason why I have named this podcast ElsAMess is just because, plain and simply, I've felt like for the whole of my life, people have had their shit together, whereas I, on the other hand, just really haven't. And to be quite honest, that has caused me to be a mess. There are many reasons, which I'm not going to get into right now. You will find out further on. I'm just really currently trying to figure life out. Like, it's a long story, which we have got time for. Hence the podcast. So this podcast is going to be about a range of different things. But the main topic that it is going to be about is grief. And I very sadly lost my mum really unexpectedly about 2 years ago. No, 3 years ago now, sorry. And I'm not going to get into it in today's episode, but I will as time goes on. However, I've had times where I felt so alone, and I'm sure loads of other people will too who are going through. Grief is like this thing which is so unexplainable. There is no right way of dealing with it. There is counselling, there's therapy. I've tried therapy myself and various other different coping mechanisms, but I found nothing to help me with it. And that might be my own personal view, but I've always wished to sort of speak to someone, and I have done in the past with people who have lost people, and I found it's really helped me. I wanted to create a platform where people who are going through the loss of a loved one or are just going through a tough time can come here and sort of maybe find comfort in a way in this podcast. And I just think as well for myself it can be quite therapeutic. So that is the main element which will be in this podcast. So I'm also going to be sharing some stories on here and experiences I've been through, because I've been in some very interesting situations which I feel could be very funny to share. And it's going to be about anything and everything, really. The reason why I made this podcast is because I wanted to be the platform that I couldn't find when I was going through, I can't even describe it, just such a rough time, and with trauma and other experiences as well. I just really felt like I couldn't talk, and I really want to help others, as I said before. So that is one of the reasons why I did create this podcast. Not only that as well, but it's just so weird to me doing this, because I've been speaking about this for the longest time, so actually sitting here doing it is pretty mad. I feel like I've always been a very empathetic person towards other people, and I just want to use my empathy. And I really felt like when I was going through my dark times, really in the really, really early grieving stages, that I just found that I loved helping other people, and I wanted to use my empathy and kind of pop it into this podcast. I wanted to speak about a little bit about me and who I am as a person, what I do, all things like that. I am 20 years old, and being in your 20s, I don't know if people agree with me, I absolutely shit myself, I'll be honest, because it's just like you're a teenager and then you're 20 and you've got bills to pay, you're trying to figure out your whole life. Me personally right now, and it's like you're just coming into adulthood and it's just like, what is this? I don't even know. I also rant a lot as well and ramble, so I am sorry. Another thing about me is I would say, a shopaholic. Shopping, I would class it as my hobby. That's probably a bit sad, but I'm absolutely flipping obsessed with clothes. I love fashion. I love anything to do with fashion. I'm a massive overthinker. I will overthink anything and everything, and that's actually one of my goals for this year, is to just stop. Because it's a pain in the arse, but I feel like everyone does it. So I will admit, I do love a cheeky little glass of wine from time to time, and also I do love a night out. Who doesn't, do you know what I mean? But we're not going to talk about me on a night out, because I'm a complete mess on a night out. But who isn't? A massive people person. I love going out socialising and meeting new people. Individual, I'd say. Like, once you meet me, I'm so shy, and like, to when you actually know me, I'm completely different. That's the same with everyone, but I'm just a weirdo. My favourite food is Italian food. Hands down, I fucking love an Italian. Get me to an Italian restaurant with an apple juice, I'll be there. I will be there. And I felt like I needed to share that, because that is a massive part of my life. Ever since from the age of 4, I have been obsessed with Italian food. It's quite bad. I could eat spag bowl all day long. A little bit about my mum. She was literally like my best friend ever. Well, she is my best friend ever. I will speak about her more in another episode, because we'd be here for hours. Just amazing mother, and she had a very like dry, witty sense of humour. She was just an iconic woman. She used to wear fake fur coats. And she used to get her nails done. She wanted to get a bloody nose piercing at the age of 53, and I was like, go mum, do it. She was called Tara. I keep like doing loads of hand gestures. What is that? I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do as a job, what I want to do in the future. So I am a makeup artist. I absolutely love makeup. I love how like you can, like, I have like a blank canvas and you can turn someone's face into just something so cool, and you can experiment and do loads of different things. I'm just absolutely obsessed with makeup. I have been ever since of the age of like 6. So yeah, I have always loved makeup. I'm being very like expressive with my hands. I don't know what all of this is about. Studied a level 3 makeup course last year in Birmingham, and then I went on to uni, and I've never ever been academic, like ever. I've always struggled in school and stuff like that, so I thought uni was sort of going to be the same as college, and it really wasn't. Like, I basically dropped out, is what I'm trying to say, and that was the hardest decision I think I've ever had to make. Like, we're not going to get into it now, we will save that for another podcast, but it was just so, I was in a very, very dark place this time a month ago, so I'm fresh out of uni. I literally dropped out just before Christmas. Sad really, because I thought that like, oh, okay, this is like how I'm gonna further my career in the makeup industry. Like, really sad that it didn't work out, but everything happens for a reason, and I'm so much more happier now with what I'm doing. So yeah, I am currently working with an agency, and I basically work in different makeup counters and fragrance counters in John Lewis, which I'm loving at the minute. It's so much fun. It's such a nice job. And that is what I'm currently doing to try and get myself out there into the industry, because that is what I did some research and stuff before I dropped out, and that is also what my lecturers told me last year to do, is to how I can get myself out there into the industry. But yeah, like I say with uni, I will get into everything in a different episode because it's just such a long story. But I just really felt like it wasn't for me, and I felt like some of the things I was doing, it felt like it was quite similar to the course I did previous, and my mental health, she was not in the right place. Didn't work out, but as I said, I'm so much more happier than as well to like obviously do what makes you happy, and I've never ever been through a situation like that. So fun. It really was not fun. A little bit about what I would love to do in the future. My dream would be probably to get myself out there into the makeup industry, but also into the fashion industry as well. I absolutely love editorial and fashion makeup, and like makeup you do in fashion magazines and fashion shoots and things like that. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and runway makeup too. So I would really love to get myself out there into the fashion industry. I'm also planning on doing a course actually in London, which is more like, it hasn't got the theory side of it, it's just got the practical side, and it's strictly based in fashion. So I would also as well one day hopefully love to release my own makeup brand, because I actually used to be a spa therapist, and I found quite a lot of like in my course when I was doing it, you had to look at what was in the products and sort of the logistics behind it. I also used to work in a spa as well, and you used to actually have to look at what was inside the products, how they worked, all of those things, and I found it really interesting. So I would kind of quite a big one, but I would love to maybe hopefully release my own makeup brand one day. That would be a dream. That is the end for this week's episode. I really hope you've enjoyed, if anyone has been watching. I'm going to try to aim to do an episode at least maybe once a week, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, I'll see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching.